Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Global Desi Women. I'm your host, Arti Solanki, a real estate broker at Living Large Realty and a business coach for women entrepreneurs. Today, we are diving into an incredible, important topic immigration law and the latest updates that could impact you, your family, or your business. Immigration laws are constantly evolving, and navigating them can be overwhelming. That's why I'm so excited to have a true expert on the show today, Mantravadi. And Umaji is a founding attorney of Mantra Law Office and a highly respected immigration specialist with over 26 years of experience. An immigrant herself, she has dedicated her career to helping individuals and businesses with immigration and family law matters. She's known for tackling complex cases, advocating for clients in court, and staying ahead of the policy changes. She's also a host of her own radio show at 106.1 FM in Houston between 12 and 2 every Saturday. So you can also catch her over there. In today's episode, we'll be discussing the latest immigration law changes and how they affect families and what you need to know moving forward. So, if you are someone you know is navigating these immigration process, and this episode is definitely for you. So let's grab a cup of chai and let's get started. Umaji, welcome to the Global Desi Women. It's such a pleasure having you here, and we truly appreciate you giving us the time.
My pleasure. There's such a beautiful introduction, and I don't know, I deserve that, but thank you so much. And it's a pleasure to be on this show and to bring about the new changes. And as you know, I think immigration is the mantra that's going around the whole United States and the world. I
Yes,
think this word is the buzzword for the entire world,
yes,
and
absolutely.
especially for people from the Indian background,
Mhm.
there's so much more to talk about. And I do this every day. And believe it or not, when I wake up in the morning, I get worried what is coming today.
Oh my
Because
goodness.
by the time I go to sleep and wake up, I know either a form is changing, the fee is changing, the location is changing, the process is changing.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely mind blowing, is the word. We've dealt with the Trump administration from 2016 to 20, and we've seen a lot of problems then too. But I think the second term, something is drastically
Hmm.
different with the mass deportations that's happening.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of US citizens have been deported.
Mm.
Today, there was a German who's a permanent resident. He was picked up and he's in custody.
Oh my goodness.
I had four of my clients coming back from UK, a family of four, husband, wife, and two kids. And they were returning back from UK. They're all permanent residents. And they stayed a little longer, which is not unusual. As they were returning at the airport at IAH, they would ask questions and they made them sign a document saying they've abandoned their green card. And they were
Wow.
not given much choice, saying either you sign this or we can place you into deportation proceedings. And it may be around 9 months before you see a judge.
Wow.
So you sign this or 9 months.
Wow. It's going so crazy. I feel like the immigration word, like you said, lately we've been hearing so much about it. It's just bizarre. And especially like you mentioned. So can ICE actually detain or deny the entry of a green card holder?
Yes, they've been given blanket powers.
Wow. Wow.
So blanket powers is the word.
Mm,
So if there's a lot of discretion the officers can use.
right.
Now, let's say, for example, I have an officer who's attending me, and I'm just giving this as a crazy example, but it may sound crazy, but it can happen. If he doesn't like my red jacket, somehow he just doesn't like me with the red jacket. He'll just use his discretion.
That is just, oh my goodness. It's such a scary time for people
Yes,
who
it
are
is.
going through this, and especially with so many deportations happening. I guess people are even scared to go out or work or do anything about it,
Yes,
because they're worried about
yes.
what if they get picked up.
I had another friend who was representing a Hispanic family, and the daughter is born here. She's about 9 or 10 years old. She's going through brain cancer
Mm,
and she's being treated. And the parents went to the hospital as usual for the treatment. And the entire family was picked up and deported.
my God, that is so sad. That is just,
So, what started off with the premise that the deportations are strictly going to contain illegal immigrants who've got criminal backgrounds,
mm,
who've committed crimes, they will be deported. And I think everybody would be glad to see criminals leave the country.
hmm,
I don't think there's anyone, including us as attorneys, we're not going to be saying that, we want to keep these criminals.
yeah,
So we would like to see them deported too. They were given a chance. They don't have, they've made mistakes, whatever it is, whether it's voluntary, involuntary, whatever. Given
hmm,
a chance and you did wrong, so you deserve to go by all means.
right,
But then if you are indiscriminately deporting young children, innocent families,
yeah,
without even giving them a chance to pick up their bags, without even having a chance to pick up some memories, some pictures, some papers. I
no,
think that is cruel,
it
in
is.
my opinion.
Yeah, it is absolutely cruel is the word, definitely. So are there different laws that apply for immigrant entrepreneurs who are doing business in US, or they're pretty much seen the same way?
They're not having any considerations.
Mm,
Like I just mentioned earlier, or I will mention it here, we had an Indian student, a South Indian, who came to do her master's at Columbia University, and then she was doing her PhD, a Fulbright scholar who's doing her PhD, and she lived on campus. She was there when a group of people were protesting the Gaza killings, which happened between last year. And she was just a bystander, basically standing there
right,
watching this. And because she was part of watching, ICE came to her apartment last week, knocked on the door, and she was not there at that time. She was either out of town, out of the apartment. And then she had two roommates, and they told her that ICE came and they're wanting to deport her. So she didn't want to be, and she's a Fulbright scholar.
oh my goodness.
And so she picked up her bag. She had a cat. She left the cat with some friends and she just took a flight and they're using the word deportation, but there is no such thing. She
No,
just left the country because she
wow,
didn't want to be deported. And she felt, it's not worth it for her to be in this country. Even as a Fulbright scholar, if they don't recognize her talent, her intelligence, and all they are going by is because somebody said she was standing there. They're
my.
not giving her the opportunity to defend herself.
Yeah. I guess at that time when they come, like you said, they're not giving any opportunity to talk or pick up the phone or nothing. They become so helpless and all they have to do is okay, just take me at this time. I mean, like there's nothing
Correct,
besides surrender, there's
correct.
nothing anybody can do. So when do you think, I guess after this whole their process of deportation and everything happens, is there after that they can take any legal actions, or are they completely
Once they're gone
lost?
out of the country,
It's
there's nothing
completely
much
lost.
you can do. You can file for a waiver of the deportation to come back. But under this administration, I'm not going to see much waivers being granted
Yeah. Yeah. It's so crazy.
because the State Department, who oversees the consulates,
Right.
is controlled by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and he's coming down hard on people who are even applying for a new tourist visa, an H1 visa, an F1 visa. Doesn't matter. And these are all people who come on H1s, L1s, highly educated people.
Yeah.
Some of them having a double master, some of them with a PhD, some of them who've got a lot of certifications, Scrum Master, Oracle, Microsoft,
Yeah.
you name it.
Yeah.
They're all highly educated. And which is why a lot of employers, including Elon Musk, has said this, that he hires a lot of H1 people from India
Yeah.
who are highly talented, highly educated.
Yeah.
But we've had stories in the last few weeks where some of the H1s were just put back on a plane and sent back.
Wow. So it's not like if you have a work visa, then you're safe, or it's nothing like that. Oh my goodness. This is just,
So
is there
my
anything they can do before if, if they feel like, oh, I need to take some steps before the ICE come and knock on my door? Is there anything they can do to protect themselves?
Honestly, not a whole lot. Of course, we've given, as attorneys, we have given some documents in the first week of February saying, know your rights.
Mm,
Meaning, even if an ICE officer comes, unless they have a judicial warrant or a federal warrant, they cannot come into your house.
mm,
Now, if you're at work, you can't do anything much. If you're in a school, you can't do anything much because those are public places.
right.
If you're at a doctor's office, even a church, even a gurdwara, even a temple, even a mosque, they
Yeah,
can come pick you up. So,
that is.
but if it's a house, we have told some of our clients that if they don't have a warrant, you really don't have to open the door.
Mm.
You can ask them who they are and you don't have to open the door. But if they've got a warrant, they've come prepared, then there's
And
nothing
most
much.
of the time they probably do. Is that correct?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't. They just take a chance.
Mm,
Okay, because a lot of people are scared
yeah. Yeah.
and they don't know the law.
Yeah. I
When
think I
you're
heard a
unaware,
story about this guy who went up to his roof and waited there like the whole day, and they tried to climb up on the roof, but they couldn't, and then they just left after that. They gave up on him, so he was saved. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
well, I think maybe that's what we all, unfortunately in the United States, we have high rise offices with no roofs. If it's India, we have a roof. Unfortunately, Arti, we don't have that. I think we'll have to start building houses and
I,
offices with roofs.
yeah. I was like, that would be
Unfortunately,
crazy.
but
They can't reach him.
you may say what advice I give my clients. I'm telling most people not to travel.
Yeah, I think that
If
would
you
be
can
the number
avoid,
one.
please do not travel. Please don't go abroad. When I say travel, outside the United States.
Yeah.
If you can avoid, don't go on cruises, don't go to Mexico, don't go to Canada. I had a family calling me today saying, ma'am, we have our son's wedding in August. We want to go do, wedding shopping. And I told them, please don't go. And the mother's like, you know how it is, wedding shopping. I said, I fully understand. See if you can do FaceTime,
Yeah. It's not
Zoom
worth it.
time, whatever time.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, it's not worth the risk, taking that risk. It's just too much, just too much. So what are the other laws that have changed as far as L1 or E2 visa process for business owners? Has there a lot of changes for those visa process, or just they're not giving too many visas at this time, I guess?
There's no regulations that have been changed, but USCIS can always change anything with a policy.
Mm,
This is their internal policies for
right.
which they don't need a congressional legislation to pass any regulations. They can actually change their policies.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. As you know, there are a lot of forms. We call them I-29, I-30s, whatever, all these forms.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, the Trump administration changed the edition of the forms for the 485 to a backdated edition
Hmm.
without giving notice to us as attorneys or the public. So, what happened is a lot of attorneys like me, we've sent the packages and they came back because they said you didn't submit the right form. And clients think that we are idiots.
Hmm.
We didn't have any notice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we filed a lawsuit against the government, all attorneys. And guess what? They changed the edition back.
Oh,
And let
it's
me give
like
you another
constantly
interesting.
new and constantly,
Yes,
it's like a fight between even, with the attorneys and the law that is already like, I guess this, I would say this makes it even difficult for the people who are studying law right now because they don't know. Like every day
correct.
something new is going on. So how do you even prepare for a bar exam when you have complete changes every single day?
Exactly. They're going to go crazy. And luckily for most of the states, they don't have immigration law on the bar.
Okay,
Thank
okay.
God for that.
Thank God for that. Yeah.
But let me give you another example too, Arti. As you know, the President Trump, has signed an executive order denying birthright citizenship for
Mhm.
children who are born to illegal parents.
Yeah.
Okay. And I've had quite a few clients who had children born to them in the last one. This is only an executive order.
Mm.
And 22 states have challenged this because the birthright citizenship is granted by the 14th Amendment to the United States.
Yeah.
So if the president has to change it, he has to go to Congress and create an amendment to the Constitution, amendment to the 14th Amendment with a two-thirds majority in Congress, and then only it cannot be changed by an executive order. This is
Right.
something 22 states have filed lawsuits, and there were a number of judges, including a judge from Maryland, who said that this is a nationwide injunction on the president's executive order because it is a violation of the due process of the Constitution of the United States.
Mhm.
Last week, we had quite a few, just my clients, other friends, attorneys whose clients had babies in Texas, and the hospital refused to give them a birth certificate. This is not even the law yet.
Oh my
They're saying
goodness.
we're not going to give you.
Wow. That is so crazy. That is just, oh my goodness. I guess you hear the most, like you said in the beginning, you hear the most bizarre stories every day right now because it's just a crazy time for everybody. It's
And
just
my
crazy.
brains are exploding,
Yeah.
Arti.
Yeah. Yeah.
We as attorneys have never felt the pressure on us practicing law as
Mhm.
much as we are feeling now. And I say this for the entire group of
Yeah.
immigration lawyers. I'm not just speaking for myself. I'm a member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association. We have some WhatsApp groups, groups that we communicate almost on a daily basis that this is happening, or this judge is tough, or this office is handling it this way. We just help each other by sharing this information. And I can tell you, since January 21st till today, I don't think we've shared anything good.
Yeah.
We don't have any good news. And all of us are feeling the pressure. And I know some attorneys right in the beginning who have quit immigration law practice.
Yeah. It's become the most challenging right now, I guess.
It's very hard to keep up every day with the changes, every day to tell my clients this has changed, this is changing, it's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
We all do continuing legal education, but it's once a year, but this is every
Like an
day, every
everyday.
hour,
Yeah.
a bit too much.
It is too much. Yeah, it is too much. So does that, I'm sure this all affects even the international students
Yes,
who
it
are
does.
here, and even their education is at stake because they don't know if they're going to be studying further here or they just going to get deported or what's their status. Otherwise, before it was like you hear the stories that, the students are transitioning to work visas and then they're trying to build their life. And now they don't even know if they're going to be in class tomorrow.
No,
Wow.
even if, let's say, for example, a student from India, has watched anything to do with Gaza, they
Mm.
can even say, because social media is accessible to eyes, if they find out somebody's just said, I don't like this, would they use that against them to deport? We are thinking possibly, yes.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe students will come to a point where they're not going to have social media platforms. They'll be done with Twitter, they'll be done with TikTok, so they'll be done with Facebook or Instagram, whatever platforms.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll have to live in oblivion. We go back to the Jetsons or the
Yeah.
Flintstones time.
Yeah, probably. And I think this is the best time to do it that way because the more you stay, I would say, under the radar, like off the radar is better than,
I agree with you. I agree with you on that.
right? So
Absolutely.
why make yourself so visible that it kind of picks their eye?
A question for you too, just out of the, I mean, when people are getting deported, whether it's an H1 or a student or a green card holder or a citizen, uh, do you see the effect of this on real estate?
Absolutely. I mean, just in general, right now, real estate is just so down. You can, low end houses are going, I would say they're still doing relatively well, but anything above 500K is just sitting in the market.
Wow.
Just sitting in the market. We're not seeing much happening, all the interest rate being so high. It's just too much now with all these the taxations. Now the construction loans have become harder. We're not getting supplies. We're not gonna. It's all delay and all this. This is a sign for market to completely crash. Yeah, this is a sign for it because we are seeing delays in everything. The materials and everything is now because all the import is going to be stopped. So like whatever
Actually,
material we are getting, it's going to be so hard to get or so very expensive to get.
wow.
I mean, I don't see a very, bright future for real estate market right now,
Oh my God.
unfortunately.
What about lenders? Are they also not inclined to lend money for the real estate purchases because of the deportation?
Yeah,
Especially if somebody is an immigrant.
yeah, I would say so. I mean, like, I can't speak for the lenders, but I feel like the market itself is just crazy. So I don't think everything is affecting. It's like a chain effect, right? So one thing
Yes,
happens, and then everybody's affected from it.
correct.
And so we just hope and pray for good times to come back.
Absolutely. Keep my fingers crossed.
Yeah,
It was just, I felt that, definitely a lot of immigrants, even on H1 or a TN or an L1, they all prefer to buy a house than rent an apartment.
yeah,
So, many people do that, but, of late, because of all these deportations, I've been hearing a lot of people saying, no, we're not going to buy a house because we don't know our future. We don't know if we'll get
exactly.
kicked out.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
I've
also
had a
maybe
few people who could not come back. They went out somewhere in January, Feb, and they were not allowed to come back, and their houses are sitting here.
oh my goodness,
I've
yeah.
had that situation too.
Yeah.
Then I had to recommend them to send a power of attorney from there to a friend or a family member so they can sell the house before it goes into foreclosures.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
So
just about
even
to
these
say that.
kind of things are happening.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things it's gonna see more and more now because as people, those people who are getting deported, and if they have their properties here, they have their businesses here, and if they don't have anybody here to take that, say, for example, that power of attorney and to handle their properties, then what do they do? It goes all get back to the bank and it's just gets into foreclosure. So we're going to see a lot of those coming in the coming months. We'll be seeing a lot of those too. It is absolutely crazy, bizarre times because it's going to affect everybody. It's going to affect everybody. It definitely is. So, what advice I would say for immigrants or and their future outlook? What would you say that would be something that would help them besides of obviously not going out of town, out of country anywhere,
Correct.
right? But is there any other precautions or any other steps they can take or stay one step ahead of the game?
One of the things we are telling people, not that they intentionally do this, but unintentionally also, we tell people don't get traffic tickets.
Mm.
Try not to get a DWI or any criminal matter because there is a bill called the Larkin-Riley bill, which was passed by Congress. And in that, they said you don't even have to be deported. You only have to be charged with a crime to be deported,
Wow.
meaning you don't have to be found guilty to be deported. So
Mm.
if there is a charge on you, and
Yeah.
if ICE is notified by the district attorney's office that we have an immigrant who's being charged with a DUI, DWI, assault, domestic violence, carrying a weapon, whatever they don't, it's not you're not guilty until you're found to be guilty. That rule has changed. You
Right.
are guilty the moment you're charged,
My goodness.
and
Yes.
you can be deportable.
Yeah. So make
So
sure no,
I'm telling
not even
people,
parking tickets or nothing. You
nothing.
should
If you
everything.
want to drink, please go home and drink.
Yeah. 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 Wow.
Please don't commit crimes. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
Second thing, for those people who are immigrants, who've been here for either 3 years, married to a US citizen as a spouse, or been here for 5 years and they're not doing anything much about their citizenship, highly, I cannot even stress this how much, but please apply for your citizenship.
Yeah.
Because if you're an immigrant, you're still deportable.
Yeah.
But if you and the reason I say this, apply for your citizenship and become a citizen, is because President Trump signed the denial of birthright citizenship for children born here to illegal parents, including somebody born to a tourist visa, H1 visa, L1 visa, student visa, you know, all of these legal non immigrants.
Yeah.
You don't get citizenship. That's as per the executive order.
Mm.
So I'm telling people, what is the guarantee that President Trump will not sign an executive order saying no more citizenship?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the end of it.
Yeah.
You only have immigrants, and if we think you're bad people, we'll just deport you.
Yeah. Wow.
Nothing is stopping.
Yeah.
The way I look at it, nothing is stopping this administration from doing these things.
Yeah.
How do you safeguard? This is how you safeguard.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
crimes, no tickets, no violations. Do not travel outside the US. If you're eligible, find out from an attorney and file for your citizen.
Yeah. Absolutely.
These are what I would guide. The other things for students, for H1s, for L1s, for E2s, whoever's coming into the country, this is also my advice. Please carry hard copies of your documents.
Yeah.
Do not give your phone because your phone bank is something they can go into.
Mm.
They can flip. Let's say I'm a student, okay? And let's say by mistake, I've got a picture of me standing in front of a gas station that's owned by my friend. They can just say, you must be working. That's why you took up it.
Wow.
What's stopping them from interpreting it?
Yeah.
And they so say, see, it's in your phone.
Mm,
You're lying to us. You must be working.
wow.
And there's nothing you can do to prove it.
Mm. I cannot
We
imagine the state of mind somebody going through this situation. It must be like completely they lose their mind at
yes,
that time, right?
I've had people who've gone through this, Arti, who've gone into depression.
Yeah.
They've actually gone into depression because they couldn't handle the kind of questioning.
Yeah, that's so much of stress. That's like unbelievable amount of stress. First thing, ICE coming and knocking on your door. That's the number one. That's like somebody could shit in their pants, I would say.
Absolutely. And people coming at the airport, let's say it's a student, they're already scared.
Hmm.
Not that they're doing anything wrong.
Right.
They have everything perfectly legal, but the moment you say it's a federal officer or a person in a uniform,
Yeah.
anyone in the world will get scared.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyone. I'm saying world across,
Yeah.
India, Singapore, Malaysia, you name it.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody will do that. Yeah.
You
Absolutely.
know, the moment you see a person in a uniform, they're like, okay, I don't know what they're going to do.
Hmm.
And if you're taken into secondary inspection, that's what they, and they can keep you there for 6 hours, 8 hours without water, without food. They take away your phone. You cannot call anyone. You don't know what's happening. You don't know if you're going to stay, go. You don't know whether you have to say yes or no.
Yeah.
Yes
Ouch.
could be a wrong answer. No could be a wrong answer.
Yeah.
There's no in between, maybe.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
But life is all about maybes.
Yeah. Wow, that's so scary. So is it the same? What's the situation going on with the people who are citizen but married, got married in India and they're waiting for the spouse to come? Are they also going through difficult times, or is that process still like it's laid back, it's still work in progress, or it's still crazy?
It's work in progress, but Arti, 2016 to 2020, when President Trump was the president, there was considerable backlogs
Mm,
because the vetting process was more tough. A lot of travel bans were placed in on many countries back then and now. We'll talk
right.
about that too. So because of that, there was tremendous delays.
Yeah.
And of course, COVID came,
COVID, yeah.
consulates were shut down for about 8 to 9 months. That backlog is still not cleared even till today. So we, as attorneys, we are expecting tremendous backlogs.
Mm,
To give you an example, until recently, if somebody was on a particular visa, be it an F1, be it an L1, be it a tourist visa, the rule was if you had one of those categories, you could use what's known as a Dropbox facility. You didn't
mm,
have to go for an interview,
mm.
okay? Because they were trying to minimize the number of applicants coming
Right,
over it,
right,
which was a good thing. They said in
right.
the last preceding 48 months, if you had a visa in one of these categories and you're reapplying for the similar category, we won't need you to come for an interview. You can use the Dropbox. Secretary of State Marco Rubio came and said, we're taking out 48 months, we're just keeping 12 months.
Hmm.
So a lot of people who already had scheduled interviews at the US consulates in India, particularly, were notified you don't qualify for this because it's no longer 48 months. You got it 36 months ago, you got 40 months ago,
Wow.
24. So we are canceling your appointment. Book another appointment and come back in line.
Wow. So they pushed back almost like 2, 3 years.
So you can imagine
Interesting.
the lines. So if that's going to create backlogs,
Yeah.
things are
Yeah,
going to be difficult.
absolutely. Yeah. Wow. Wow. So even for people who are, because I guess this generation does it a little bit less now, but previously it used to be where, you know, you go back to your country, you find somebody, get married, and then come back. But I guess this whole situation is making people think about, do they really want to do that or not? Because it's,
This is particularly for US citizens, of course.
yeah, 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 yeah,
But then you have all the H1s, you've got the L1s,
yeah,
you've got the students who still want to go back to their home country and
absolutely.
marry a person of their culture.
Hmm.
They don't want to marry a, a US citizen, particularly.
Yeah, yeah,
They want somebody who speaks their language, who can cook their food.
yeah.
It's a cultural thing,
Yes, it's a cultural thing. Yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's going to be a problem for them.
Yeah, yeah, I see that. Yeah. And in this situation, even as a employer, a company, having, people from abroad working for them, even their business is becoming where they don't know if one day the employee is gonna come, or he's not gonna come, or she's not gonna come, creates so much chaos even for running a smooth business here in US, right? So this is something, I mean, like I said before, it's affecting everybody. Like
Absolutely.
even a small company, big company, whoever it is, for them
Yes,
to have so many people working for them that are on the H-1 visa or whatever you call the,
correct.
and they don't know if that person is going to come and do their job next day or not.
And they don't know if this project will be completed. They have to go find another employee. Or maybe the people who gave them the project is going to be mad saying, we can't wait. And you guys breached the contract. We're going to sue you.
Yeah, yeah. Do
So
you think this will
lawsuits.
affect to the people that are working remotely from India for the US based companies? Is that gonna, is there, are their jobs also gonna get affected by these kind of
No,
situations?
no. And I think that's going to increase more.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of remote jobs, offshore jobs, as they
Yeah.
call it. I think because of these problems, we're going to be seeing a less number of H1s.
Yeah.
The lottery is going on right now as we speak for the H1Bs. Each year we saw 400,000. I think in 23 it was like 700 or 800,000 applications for a quota of 65,000.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see those numbers.
Yeah.
Yes, it would benefit people who are going to work remotely from India, from whatever country they're in, because I think employers, like you rightly said, don't want to be in this chaotic situation whether the employee is coming, not coming.
Yeah.
So
Because
this is
for,
at least better.
yeah, because for anybody who's running a business, it becomes so hard for them to take that risk with an employee being on H1 and then not knowing where their project is going to be and if somebody else will be there right away to replace them.
Correct.
It all kind of like freezes the work, and that's not affordable for big companies because they have
Correct.
deadlines to go, they have things to do. So wow, that is just crazy. But this has been such an interesting podcast, and I hope that all our listeners really take tips from this. And of course, we'll put all your information
Thank you.
on our podcast description so they can reach you if they have any questions, they have concerns, they need legal advice from you. They can reach out to you. But no, Umaji, this has been an insightful conversation. I really
Thank you
thank
so
you
much.
for
My
sharing.
pleasure. My pleasure. But before I go, I do want to say one thing to the listeners.
Sure.
I mean, this is not a time to gamble with your immigration.
Yeah.
This is not a time to say, I will copy paste what my neighbor did. This is not a time to say what my cousin did 20 years ago. This is the time you really are not trying to pitch for myself or for any attorney. But this is a time you need to consult an attorney before you take a step.
Yeah.
This is not a time to gamble. That's one thing. I would strongly advise people, please consult, because what you see on vlogs, blogs, social media is only one part of the information.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's 75% of the information that's not there.
Mm.
And with the changing policies, if you're going to apply what applied to somebody a month ago, also, is not going to apply to you.
Yeah.
So, no copy paste. Don't do that. Find out if you, and please listen to my podcast, come on my radio
Yeah.
show, ask questions. I'm happy to do that. I
Yeah.
do a lot of podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I invite people to come like yours. We will do more, I'm sure, in the future.
Yes. Absolutely.
It'll be nice if people listen and second follow.
Yeah. Yeah. The key part is following, because listening is easy, but following is what it'll take them to the right path.
Correct. Thank you again for letting me complete that. Appreciate it, Arti. It's been
Yeah,
a
no,
pleasure talking to you.
absolutely. Absolutely. And immigration is a journey that affects so many people, and having the right knowledge can make all the difference. So, again, if you're facing any immigration challenges and you need guidance, I highly recommend reaching out to Umaji and her team at the Mantra Law Office. Umaji, where our listeners find you, and where can our listeners find you and reach you for the legal advice? I know I'll post down the website, but is there any other special contact information that you would like to share?
It's sure, interestingly, I'm one of the few attorneys who I give out my cell number, particularly in troubling times like now,
Right.
because we never know who gets picked up, what happens, are being deported from the airport, I didn't get a visa at the US consulate. So I give out my cell number. I highly encourage people to send me a WhatsApp message with your question, with your problem. Anything I discuss with them, of course, a one on one will be confidential. I don't discuss this in the community. I give examples, but I don't give names. You're more than welcome. I'll repeat it: 281-827-3836, or go to my website, mantralaw.com. Very simple.
Yeah.
And just send me an email from there, and I typically respond between 24 to 48 hours.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for
My
tuning
pleasure.
in. And if you found this episode helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Global Desi Women. This is for all our listeners. Let's continue these important conversations. And until next time, take care, keep thriving, be kind to yourself and to others. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.